In the year 2000, nearly 1 in 4 international students looking to enroll in colleges and universities outside their own country chose the United States. More recently, this number has shrunk from 25% to only 16.4% in 2012, according to the Organization for Economic Cooperation. The global middle class is growing rapidly, and with it the demand for higher education. Although the United States has decreased its market share, the demand for American colleges and universities is at all-time highs. In 2005, more than 560,000 international students studied in the United States. In 2012, that number rose to more than 760,000, representing a 35.4% increase over the course of 7 years. This significant increase has provocative implications on American diplomatic strategy in a rapidly changing and growing world. The unipolar moment of the United States has ended, and with it, questions and concerns about the continued maintenance of America's global power and influence have risen to the highest levels of security discourse. In a time of relative decline, the United States must find new avenues to advance national interests. Drawing on the insights of international education professionals and the frameworks for analysis articulated by Donella Meadows and Michael Fratantuono, it is clear the American higher education system is an opportunity to expand American soft power, a core competency of the United States that can be leveraged to advance national interests. Donella Meadows' Framework for Systems Analysis provides an overarching schema for higher education as a tool of soft power. She categorizes a system as a conglomeration of stocks and flows. In the case of American higher education and soft power, colleges and universities are a stock that has a quantifiable magnitude, and soft power is a flow that changes over time. In this case, soft power takes the form of international students studying in America who then return to their home country with a positive view of the United States. Meadows would refer to this particular system as a reinforcing feedback loop. As more international students study in the United States and return to their country, even more international students will seek the same experience, thus increasing the flow, and in this case, soft power. Michael Fratantuono's Framework for Analysis provides a second tier of understanding, beginning with agents.
The framework for analysis starts with agents, including the US, other countries, and educational organizations who play a role. The motivations and actions of agents are demonstrated by how the US wants to increase their influence and power throughout the world. So, they increase international educational exchange. Contextual factors contribute to these motivations in which the US has been known throughout the world for our exemplary educational system and power and influence throughout the global system. These result in both inter-system outcomes, meaning how the rest of the world experiences an outflow of students and more influence of the United States educational structures, and intra-system outcomes in which domestically the US experiences an influx of international students, a boost in the economy, and a change in policy. This all leads to increasing interdependence in which system outcomes include further understanding of cultural traditions, language, better diversity throughout classroom experiences, and better interaction through soft power. Altogether, this evolves into a changing world structure, where the educational systems change to better incorporate global understanding and globalization. Here, the educational system improves, leading to an improved global understanding, an eventual gain in American influence, which increases the US's ability to maintain a favorable world order, which would be consistent with a fusion world, as described by the 2012 Global Trends 2030 Special World Report, published by the National Intelligence Council, defined with growing collaboration among major powers, global multilateral institutions are reformed and made more inclusive.
Soft power is defined by the ability to get what you want through attraction, or simply getting others to want the outcomes that you want. Joseph Nye, a Harvard professor, coined the term. It is the opposite of hard power, defined by military force and command. Soft power relies on 3 sources: political values, foreign policies, and cultural influence. Among factors of cultural influence is education. Examples of this would be diplomacy, or other countries mimicking our government structure. In terms of cultural influence, US culture radiates outward with an intensity last seen in the days of the Roman Empire, but with a novel twist. Rome's and Soviet Russia's cultural sway stopped exactly at their military borders. American soft power, though, rules over an empire on which the sun never sets.
One specific example of how American higher education is being employed as a tool of soft power is an initiative of the State Department called Education USA.
Through the State Department, there's a branch of the State Department called Education USA. This is soft diplomacy, very much soft diplomacy, and very, very conscious as soft diplomacy. In literally every country in the world, there are Education USA offices. These are people that are employed by the State Department through the Office of Education USA. They may be host country nationals, or they may be Americans living over abroad, but they've got the background and training to help students work through the process of applying to colleges across the United States.
Education is an important tool of soft power to the U.S. Many observers agree that American higher education produces significant soft power for the United States, saying that they can think of no more valuable asset to our country than our educational influence. Education becomes an important role in soft power in the fact that it is one of the factors that encourages interest, immigration, and investment. Since the Cold War, higher education in the United States was seen as a tool to secure national interests and in that time promote anti-communist and pro-American sentiments. In terms of economics, globalization has encouraged education to promote a broader view of the world. Globalization has also caused the United States economy to rely more heavily on global knowledge to gain a competitive edge. Education has also been a tool to attract and recruit those forward-looking minds from across the world. Post 9/11, the federal government strengthened the education program as part of their public diplomacy efforts to strengthen America's image and understanding in the world, while also increasing America's understanding of the rest of the world. International education also accounts for roughly $24 billion coming into the economy. As of 2012, international students made up 5% of the higher education population. However, compared to Britain's 10%, the U.S. is behind in attraction.
Now, of late, again, because of economic situations, both here in the United States, with colleges and universities struggling with their own funding, those growing middle classes in other countries, more and more colleges have been seeking international students. They may not have done 20 years ago, but they are now, and they're driven by economics. Well, in general, there's this perception around the world, as I've mentioned a couple times, that this is the place to be for many students. The UK would be the number 2 in that position. And so I think as the economic well-being of countries increases, Vietnam's a great example of that. The increase in Vietnamese applications here, but as well as many schools across the United States, has been significant in the past 5 years as their economy's gotten stronger. And so as the middle class grows, we're seeing that obviously in China and have been for a number of years. So as the middle class grows in these countries and they have more ability to pay for an education here in the United States, there's an increase.
The United States is taking strategic steps to increase international interest, however. Both Hillary Clinton's 100,000 strong China and President Obama's 100,000 strong Americas are initiatives to increase international exchange in education. Clinton's initiative started in 2009 and Obama's started in 2011, both starting to see effects in the overall growth in international students studying in the U.S. Since Clinton's initiative between 2009 and 2012, student visas for the U.S. have increased by roughly 150,000 issuances. On the domestic side, the United States Department of Education has taken steps, such as their Succeeding Globally through International Education and Engagement initiative, to better the understanding of the world.
The United States has already begun to understand the increasingly large role the American higher education system will play in the future of American global power and influence, and its ability to advance its national interests. As the middle class continues to grow all over the world, the demand for higher education will continue to increase, and as strategic initiatives like Education USA continue, soft power will increase in a reinforcing feedback loop, as outlined by Meadows' Framework for Systems Analysis. Secretary of State John Kerry affirmed the State Department's position on this topic in a message to the Education USA Forum in 2013.
And when the 765,000 international students who studied in the United States last year return home, the bonds that they have built here and the friendships that they have forged will last a lifetime. 10, 20, 30 years from now, when a young man from Ghana starts a thriving global business, or a young Colombian woman becomes her country's foreign minister, when a young Vietnamese man becomes a Nobel Prize-winning scientist, or a young woman from Afghanistan is elected president, they will think of the memories and the friendships that they formed with their American friends at Texas A&M or the University of Illinois or Yale. None of this is a fantasy.